So traditionally, I think a lot of SEOs, I talk about this a lot, take a top-down approach. I see it a lot when I pitch against other agencies. A top-down approach, meaning if we look at a traditional marketing funnel, right? Top funnel, mid funnel, bottom funnel. Top funnel from an SEO point of view would be like, I put that as like blog content, right? A lot of agencies will lead with that because that's where the volume is. And I'll give you a good example of this. We're pitching a client right now who is in Florida. He's in Parkland or Coral Springs, Florida. Tiny, tiny, tiny area. And there's like no search volume there, right? But he's surrounded by Boca, West Palm, Hollywood, that there's a ton of search volume and ton of demand and ton of competition for what he does. So if you were to take a top-down approach, you look at it and say, okay, the bottom funnel keywords, there's not a lot of volume there. So what we need to do is we need to create blog content at the top of the funnel to try and get traffic into the website. The problem with that strategy is that that content will never convert, right? And like, why do people hire us? They hire us to make the money. So if we're doing things inherently that we know aren't going to make the money, we are not doing our jobs, we're not going to have that client for very long. So we need to look, again, we talked about this yesterday. The main thing is getting them clients as quickly as possible. We need to adjust how we're approaching this. So that's why we have moved completely to a bottom down approach as opposed to a bottom up approach, sorry, as opposed to a top down. So again, at the top funnel, we just kind of invert this funnel, high level searches, but that have volume, but are not looking for services, but they're quote unquote in market. And that's how like a lot of SEOs will justify it. They'll be like, yeah, like they're not looking for your service now, but like they're going to be looking for it. Or like, they're in market, right? Like they're clearly looking at stuff around the law and attorneys. So therefore they're in market, right? So this might be a bad example, but like what to look for in a good DUI lawyer. Not a bad post by any means, but like, is it going to rank and drive clients? Probably not, right? Then we get in the mid funnel. So this is like content, I call it tangentially related to the bottom funnel, but it's not a product or service page. So still some good like teeth on this content, right? But it's not a practice area page or a service page. So like what to do after a DUI in Florida, right? That tells us that people searching for that have been impacted by DUI, but are not looking for a lawyer, but are like looking to do around that process. So this is a really good example, right? Of like what Caesar and I talked about today in terms of we're assigning somebody on the team to work on this. These are the types of keywords that we want to flush out into the blog content, right? Because this now gives us something that we could say, again, walking into a campaign, just applying this on top of the website that they have. So now we're doing a content audit and we're looking at their website quality audit. We can look for these cues. We're going to be much faster in terms of evaluating good content, good topics versus bad content topics by understanding this ahead of time, right? And this also becomes a problem too with scaling people, right? Because if we're putting this on top of them, right? If we're giving this to our SEO strategists when we're working with all sorts of different people and we're having them, they're getting a campaign and we're not really able to go into every single client campaign and monitor what keywords we're going to be targeting for clients, right? Like it's basically up to the person working on that campaign. So we're giving them a lot of trust and we're expecting them to understand how to manipulate e-commerce versus local versus services versus B2B versus commercial. We're expecting a lot of those people in terms of their understanding of what that search market is, right? As opposed to us giving them the roadmap ahead of time and having them, it's like giving them a color book and just being like, stay inside the lines. We know this works. Do not go outside the lines, right? It allows us to get more out of our people without having to essentially go all the way up market and get like a true SEO expert. Because even me, man, I've been doing this for 15 years. And if you ask me to like find keywords for a business that I didn't really know about, it'd be really hard. Like a good example is we have a client that does commercial LED lighting. They convert fluorescent into commercial LED lighting. Super niche and like very kind of complex in terms of understanding their service. And like the reason why we're working with them is because I'm very good friends with the CEO and they pay us a good amount of money. But aside from that, like it's not really a good fit because I realized when I got in there and started looking at the content, I'm like, yo, this is like, we have to spend a lot of time trying to understand this market and what people are searching for and how they're searching for it. So if we're able, again, to do this ahead of time and provide our team with this, we're removing that we're removing that risk from the business in a sense, right? And we're able to keep the train on the tracks a lot more in terms of creating content that we know is going to have an impact on the business, right? So again, when we come like talking about like hiring and scaling hiring, like these are the small things that we can do that make people's lives a lot easier. Just asking them to color in the lines and not asking them to be Picasso. So then we get to the bottom of the funnel. So these would be pages that map to high intent keywords that will drive conversion. So for us, DUI attorney in Miami, right? So this maps to a practice area page, right? Or a location-based page that we have this templated out ahead of time. Like we know already. Like I look at a personal injury attorney's like website and I'm able to say, okay, they don't have the proper navigation and architecture. They don't have the proper content supporting underneath this from a practice area point of view. Again, then next step for us is building this out and templatizing the blog content, which we should have hopefully done by the end of this week. And again, the reason why this is so important is because I've said it like 4 times already today and yesterday, but we want to keep the main thing the main thing. And the way that we drive more conversions for clients is we focus on driving more conversions for clients. So these are small things, again, that we can do. And we are looking at content, right? We can focus on pages that are tagged as lead generation, local lander. This is our agency website, so it's not one-to-one for what we're looking at. But now we can focus on these pages, right? Now we can look at these pages and say, these are the pages, like there's, again, this is a hypothetical, but there's 30 pages here, right? That are already on the website that I don't see ranking that well for what we want to rank for. So why would we go out and create blog content that's nonsense when this is what we need to rank? Like this is where the money is on the website. And then combining that with the pages that they don't have, right? And now we've got a full content map. So again, just to recap the website quality audit, because now I'm going to move into talking about the content workbook and how we maneuver that. First thing that we do, run this, set this up. Second thing that we do, we analyze it for kind of like low-hanging technical fruit or things that we know are going to be potentially impacting website like this. Next thing that we do is we review the content on the website and we look for opportunities for content that we want to improve. And then again, you either do the keyword gap analysis or like what I showed you, we come in knowing what pages that they don't have. We're able to map it against this. And then I'll show you in a second how we build that out into a content roadmap.
Hey, Ryan here. Hope you liked that video. If you want more, check out these 2 videos right here on the screen.